Have you ever stopped to think about why some men seem naturally drawn to certain women, as if an unseen force is pulling them near, while others are totally overlooked? The reason is not just about looks. There's a much stronger effect at work, something deeper and more mysterious. It's a power that famous thinker Carl Jung discovered when he looked into the hidden parts of the male mind. Today, I'm going to share something with you that most women have never heard before. 6 psychological steps that wake up a man's strong, almost uncontrolled desire. This is not a list of simple tricks or quick ways to charm someone. This is the true meaning, raw and emotional, hidden in the deepest parts of a man's thoughts. This information has stayed secret for a long time. For years, people thought it was too powerful, too sensitive to be shared easily. But try to imagine for a moment what it would feel like to create such a powerful draw in the man you secretly want. Not with false sweetness, perfect speeches, or practice moves, but through the magic that appears when you touch on the secret places inside him, places he may not fully know himself. Take my client, Mariana. At 47, she had been separated for 5 years. She told me she had decided that passion and connection were in her past, that men didn't notice her anymore, as if her time was over. But everything changed when she used only 2 of the 6 ideas I'm about to tell you. She not only got the attention of a man who had ignored her before, but she also woke up something strong in him, a passion, a deep feeling, a sense of commitment she never thought she could feel again. What I'm about to share goes far beyond perfume, memorized lines, or fancy clothes. This is not about trying to be someone else. It's about becoming a woman who connects with something deeply built into him, something he can't explain, but also can't leave. Because men are not just attracted by what they see, but by what they feel inside when they are near a certain type of woman. Their wanting is not random, it has meaning. It connects to old parts of the mind that Jung spent his life trying to understand. These secrets were not found in regular psychology books. They were hidden in Jung's private writings, only recently translated and studied by a small group of researchers very interested in human feeling and desire. What we found there broke many old ideas about what draws a man to a woman, not just for a short time, but in ways that change his entire self. I need to be honest with you, this is not easy information. This is not something to use without care. When you learn how to unlock these hidden emotional triggers inside a man, you hold something special. You have power over the parts of him that control how he connects, how he desires, and how he stays. When you use this knowledge honestly and fully, it doesn't just change how he acts. It changes the way he sees you, how he feels when you are close, the way he listens to your voice and touches your skin. It can even change how he loves. So ask yourself truthfully, are you ready to go deeper than simple conversations? Are you prepared to stop accepting weak feelings and relationships where you do all the work? Are you ready to step into a place where you speak directly to a man's heart? Are you prepared to become someone he can't forget? Not because you tried harder, but because you understood something others never did. If your answer is yes, then stay with me. The next few moments might change how men interact with you for the rest of your life. What Jung found in his secret studies was not easily accepted. Many of his fellow workers criticized him, worried about what might happen if this knowledge fell into the wrong hands. But Jung believed that the right person, one with deep feeling and true care, could change lives with it. The first step to opening a man's deep desire relates to something Jung called the shadow. The shadow is the part of a person they hide, the feelings they keep down, the thoughts they stop, the traits they've been told to conceal. And here is the truth that most women never learn. When you are the one who makes room for his shadow without judging or fear, you don't just earn his respect. You start something strong inside him, something that feels very important. Have you ever seen a man relax? Not because you touched him, but because he felt completely understood by you in a way no one else had allowed. That is not luck. That is the power of this first key. From a young age, boys are told to be tough, to be strong, not to cry or break down. They carry this burden quietly, always feeling the need to hold everything together. But when you become the woman who gives him permission to breathe, who lets him drop his defenses without losing respect, you don't weaken him, you set him free. And in that emotional freedom, something powerful wakes up. He doesn't just want to be with you. He wants to honor you, protect you, give you everything. Not because he has to, but because he chooses to. And how you wake up this part of him is not through big dramatic actions or long discussions, but through being truly present, looking into his eyes when he speaks, feeling what he isn't saying, holding space without needing to fix everything. That quiet strength you offer speaks louder than words, and he feels it deep down. The second idea Jung shared is what he called the dance with the anima. Every man carries inside him a very personal picture of the feminine. It's not just physical, it's emotional, meaningful, and spiritual. This inner picture changes over time, shaped by life events, hopes, and personal growth. But here is the secret. When a woman naturally matches and shows that inner picture, not by tricking him, but by being her true self, it creates a strong pull. You are not trying to copy something. You are simply becoming more of who you really are. And when your inner being fits with his inner idea of the feminine, it is like you are speaking a language only his heart understands. And he feels it, not just in his mind, but physically, completely. So, how do you find this matching? Pay attention. Notice which parts of your feminine nature make him light up. Does he listen closely when you are caring, calm, and gentle? Does he become more excited when you are fun, free, and untamed? Or maybe he responds most when you show your confidence, independence, and trust in yourself. These are not fake actions. They are different parts of who you are. And when you sense which ones wake him up and let them come out easily, something basic in him reacts. One of my clients, Christina, was 53 when she met a man who had always seen her as kind, but nothing more. She kept trying to win him over with logic, help, and being sensible, but none of it touched him deeply. Then she stopped trying. She let her inner feelings guide her, accepted more mystery, became more open with her emotions. She didn't chase. She didn't try to convince him. She simply allowed herself to change, to show up differently. Suddenly, he couldn't take his eyes off her. Something new rose through her energy, a kind of richness, a strong mixture of qualities. And what happened next totally changed how he responded to her. The man who once looked at her with distant politeness began to see her anew, with wonder, with passion. That is the magic of difference. Not confusion, but many layers. The emotional richness that draws him in again and again, not because you shocked him, but because you surprised his soul. Jung's third secret idea, found in his most personal notes, is what he called the alchemy of contrast. This might be one of the most misunderstood forces in human desire, because it goes against everything we are taught about staying the same. We are told to be stable, to be one thing or the other. But that is not what excites a man's inner world. The male hidden mind is not started by sameness. It is moved by difference, by opposites, by the surprising mix of qualities inside one woman. Men are not held by a woman who is only strong or only soft. What wakes up something wild and respectful in him is a woman who holds both. A woman who can be deeply nurturing and fiercely independent, calm and wild, thoughtful and uninhibited. When you allow different parts of yourself to show, when you no longer fit just one idea, you become a living puzzle. And the male mind finds that completely magnetic. This is why so many relationships lose their spark over time. The woman becomes simple, easy to guess, and the difference, the sense of discovery, disappears. Jung believed male desire stays strong when a man feels like he is always discovering new sides of you. That is what difference offers. It keeps him interested, aware, alive, and it doesn't just create attraction, it deepens the connection. You don't need to change yourself completely. You simply stop hiding parts of yourself to fit a role. You allow more of your truth to appear. You don't hide your senses to seem respectable. And you don't quiet your intelligence to seem sweet. You hold all of it. That complexity is what moves a man's hidden desire. Not being perfect, but having depth. One client I worked with, Elenina, was 42 and had been married for 15 years. Her marriage had become polite and predictable. She told me it felt like she and her husband were just roommates, safe but not connected. She realized she had become the responsible wife, practical and stable, but she had silenced the other parts of herself. So she began to wake them up. She started expressing her sensuality again, letting her spiritual side show, embracing her inner fire and mystery. And something in her husband changed. He began watching her again, listening, reaching for her like he did years before, not because she forced anything, but because she reawakened the woman he fell for, and even more, the woman he never knew he needed. He was falling in love all over again, not with someone new, but with the version of her he had forgotten. Those first 3 secrets already opened the door to something special and life-changing. But now we go deeper into Jung's work, the part few ever look into. These are the boldest, most private, and most powerful truths he found about how men love and why certain women are never forgotten. These next ideas reveal why some men carry the memory of a woman for decades, why he dreams of her, misses her, and quietly compares every other woman to her, even if they haven't spoken in years. It's not just about attraction, it's about what she stirred inside him, what she woke up that he didn't even fully understand. Jung's 4th idea may be the most powerful, the connection with a man's inner hero. Every man, no matter how quiet or shy he seems, carries a deep need to be heroic. Not in the way movies show it, not in loud, big shows, but in a quiet, deep, soul-level way. It's the need to have a purpose, to guard, to create meaning, to make a difference. It's not about being boastful. It's a deep, inner call to rise up. And when a woman sees this in him, honors it, and gives it room to appear, she does more than make him feel appreciated. She wakes up something profound. A part of him he may not even have known was sleeping. She doesn't just praise him, she shows him his true self, his strength, loyalty, honesty, purpose, and dedication. This doesn't mean you should pretend to be weak so he can feel strong. That's not real power, it's just acting. What activates his hero's heart is being truly seen when you show him the quiet courage he displays every day, when you recognize the depth of his loyalty, his strength to bounce back, his protective nature. That recognition touches him like few things ever will. When a man feels seen like this, he doesn't just like you, he values you because he sees himself in a new light through your eyes. He's moved to rise, not because he has to, but out of love. Tiana, one of my clients, was 58 when she began to use this with her long-term partner. For years, she had focused on what he wasn't doing, thinking criticism would cause change, but instead he pulled away emotionally. So she changed. She started truly seeing and naming his good points, his quiet commitment, his devotion to his children, his steady effort to grow even when no one noticed it. She didn't make things seem better. She didn't act. She simply appreciated what was already there. And what happened was amazing. He began to light up for her, for himself. He started getting involved more, listening deeper, holding her differently, like she was his guiding light. And that's what this trigger does. It brings a man back to life, not just physically, but emotionally and spiritually. And he links that awakening to the woman who helped him feel it. Jung believed this key was sacred and powerful, something not to be taken lightly, because once a man feels that kind of recognition, his loyalty isn't just emotional, it becomes soul deep. It's no longer just about attraction, it's about being claimed in the deepest, most human way. Then comes the 5th truth, an idea that changes everything we've been told about male desire. Jung called it the gateway to the transcendent. Most people assume men want sex only for the physical release, that it's about what they see, their imagination, or a quick feeling of pleasure. But Jung's findings showed something much deeper. At the heart of male sexuality is a deep wish for something more, for something bigger than himself, for the breaking down of walls, for a joining so complete that it makes the world disappear. And when a man meets a woman who carries that energy, not just through her body, but through her full present self, he doesn't just want her, he gives in completely. This has nothing to do with pretending to be special. It's not about floating around acting like a goddess. It's about treating your body as something important, about allowing your sensual energy to move through you without acting or trying to be anything but present. It's the difference between acting sexy and truly being lost in your own experience, breathing, feeling, letting go. When you do this, not for him but for yourself, you become a doorway, a mirror to something old and lasting. And when he steps into that energy with you, something opens inside him. It's not just lust, it's respect, devotion, humility. One question that often comes up when I share this is, isn't this tricking him? And the answer is no, absolutely not. Tricking relies on lying, on trying to control someone's actions for your own benefit. What Jung showed are not tricks. They are psychological truths. They show how we are made as people, how we connect when we are honest, complete, and aware. This is not about trapping a man with sex or praise. It's about seeing the truth of who he is and allowing yourself to be seen too. When you show him his inner hero, you are not pretending. You are allowing yourself to see and value what is already there. That is not tricking. That is real connection. When you become a doorway to the deeper feeling, you're not tempting him, you're revealing, you're taking back your own sensual power as something important, not for approval, but for balance. That energy, when felt deeply and truly, is what men never forget because it is so rare, so real. But as with any deep truth, this is not a quick fix. It's a journey, a practice. It begins with self-awareness, looking honestly at how you have shown up in your relationships. What parts of your feminine self have you expressed freely? What parts have you quieted or hidden out of fear, shame, or training? Then comes acceptance, real acceptance. Not trying to fix or hide who you are, but holding all of it. Your desire and your logic, your calmness and your fire, your boldness and your soft side. These are not opposites. They are your depth. When you stop breaking yourself into pieces, when you stop saying sorry for who you are, everything changes. Your energy shifts. You begin to attract instead of chase. And from that place of inner unity, something beautiful begins to happen. After awareness and acceptance comes action and practice. Let these truths show up in everyday moments, not as a plan, but as a new way of living. Allow your full self to be present in how you speak, how you move, how you listen. Notice the small changes, how men respond, what shifts in your presence. One of my clients, Patricia, age 38, started a private journal. In it, she tracked how different sides of herself, her softness, her directness, her mystery, affected her talks and interactions. This simple awareness helped her see what she had been repeating without realizing it. She wasn't inventing herself again. She was remembering herself, and that changed everything. Here's what so many women don't realize. Your power to wake up a man's desire is only the start. The deeper magic lies in your power to open his heart, to reach places in him even he doesn't often visit. Not through pressure, not through manipulation, but through your wholeness. When you begin using Jung's 6 important ideas, you're not just becoming more wanted, you're becoming more alive, more stable, more fully expressed. And this spreads into every part of your life. Women who live this wisdom often see change everywhere. In their relationships, yes, but also in their creative energy, their work, their parenting, their friendships, as if life itself begins to respond differently. And that's what happens when we return to our natural state. Not broken, not performing, but fully connected. Jung wasn't just talking about relationships. He was mapping a way back to the feminine soul, a path for women to reclaim the intuitive, sensual, emotional brilliance that has been shamed or hidden. When you walk that path, You don't just change how men see you, you transform how you see yourself. But with that power comes responsibility. These truths are not toys, they are not games. They wake up deep places in others. When you begin practicing this way of being, you will stir things in the men around you, sometimes desire, sometimes fear, sometimes long hidden pain.